The cameras flashed, the crowd froze, and just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession.
Oh, it really did.
Close your eyes for a second. I want you to picture the year 2012. It is August. The air is thick with that sticky, salty humidity you really only get on the coast of Massachusetts.
I can almost feel the humidity.
Right. So we are standing outside this massive shingled estate in Hyannisport. The sound of the Atlantic Ocean crashing against the rocks is loud, but it is almost completely drowned out by the aggressive machine gun clicking of paparazzi shutters.
The absolute chaos of it all.
Exactly. And there, walking across the perfectly manicured lawn, is a 22-year-old pop star.
I can see the outfit already. It is the polka dots, isn't it?
It is the vintage polka dot dress. She looks like she just stepped out of a time machine from 1955. She is wearing a headband. She is holding hands with a boy who looks, let's be honest, he looks very young.
Because he is.
Yeah, he is. He is a grieving 18-year-old who is technically still a junior in high school. And here is the kicker for you. That girl has just purchased a nearly $5 million mansion right next door to his family's compound.
And she did this after dating him for how long?
5 weeks.
5 weeks. That sounds less like a romance and more like the plot of a psychological thriller.
I mean, at the time, the world called it a fairy tale. At least they did until the American royalty family quietly asked her to leave a wedding she wasn't actually invited to.
Which is still so hard to believe.
It really is. But fast forward 14 years, that girl has been, in her own words, dug out of her grave. It is now February 2026. She is planning the wedding of the century.
The absolute wedding of the century.
But here's the thing about Hollywood stories. You can change the script, but you can't delete the archives. Because just as she prepares to walk down the aisle, the ghost of that chaotic 2012 summer has returned in a shocking parallel.
It is wild.
Hollywood loves a comeback, but can you ever really outrun a curse? Welcome to StarScope Report.
I am so ready to unpack this.
Join us as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today is a big one.
It is. Today we are doing a deep dive into the headline story, how Taylor Swift survived the Kennedy curse. We are going to track the journey from that controversial obsession with the Kennedy family in 2012 to her current status as the fiancée of Travis Kelce.
The arc of this story is just incredible.
We've got a massive stack of sources for this one, too. We are pulling from Parade, some great breakdowns in Elle, some fascinating analytical studies from Montclair State University,
And the Reddit threads.
oh, of course, the most unhinged deep dives Reddit has to offer. We are going to separate the fan fiction from the reality.
I love when we get into the Reddit threads because that is where the real detective work happens. But looking at the outline for this, the Kennedy curse angle isn't just a metaphor here, is it?
No, it feels very literal. So let's set the scene properly for you. We are going back to what I call the summer of limerence. Taylor releases Starlight, a song literally inspired by an old black and white photo of Ethel and Bobby Kennedy.
She is effectively writing historical fan fiction about the family she is currently trying to date her way into.
It is bold.
It is. But let's talk about the house because I still can't get over that detail.
Yeah.
I looked up the real estate records before we sat down. She bought the home at 27 Marchant Avenue in Hyannisport.
Right. 7 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, private beach access.
For $4.8 million.
Yeah.
In cash, presumably. But the timeline is what absolutely staggers me. She closes on this house in August 2012. She had only started dating Conor Kennedy in July.
5 weeks. You do not buy a sandwich after 5 weeks with some people, let alone a mansion next door to their grandmother.
That is a level of commitment that borders on, well, terrifying.
And we have to talk about the boy in the scenario. Conor Kennedy was 18. And it wasn't just that he was young, his life was in total chaos at that exact moment.
It was a very dark time for his family.
He had just lost his mother, Mary Richardson Kennedy, to suicide in May of that year. So you have this grieving teenager, and then suddenly the biggest pop star on the planet drops out of the sky, buys the house next door, and starts taking him on this whirlwind tour.
This is where the Reddit deep dives we looked at really turn a critical eye on the situation. There were allegations at the time, which outlets reported on, about the power dynamic.
Yeah, that was a huge talking point.
Critics were saying she had essentially signed him out of school. There were stories that she was flying a high school student to Nashville on private jets while he should have been in pre-calc.
And the optics of it all. I mean, she was dressing in that very specific 1950s Hyannisport chic.
The headbands.
The modest, high-waisted swimsuits. It felt like she was auditioning for a role in a biopic that hadn't been written yet. But the climax of that summer, the moment the fairy tale cracked, was the crash.
Oh, the wedding crash. I remember reading about this at the time.
So it is the wedding of Liam Kerr, a Kennedy cousin. The reports are just excruciating to read. Taylor and Conor show up. The mother of the bride apparently asks them to leave, not once, but twice.
And they stayed.
They stayed. They just hung out.
That speaks to a psychological concept we found in the research called limerence. It explains so much of this specific behavior.
Break that down for us, because I see that word thrown around online a lot. But what does it actually mean in a clinical sense?
So limerence isn't love. Love is grounded in reality, in knowing who a person actually is. Limerence is a cognitive state where you are obsessed with the fantasy of a person.
Ah.
It's like a sugar high for your heart. You prioritize the narrative over the intimacy. In this case, it seems less like she was dating Conor the individual and more like she was trying to integrate into the Kennedy dynasty.
So you wanted the history.
The history, the aesthetic, the American royalty title. She was essentially projecting herself into the picture frames on the wall.
That makes perfect sense. She wasn't buying a house next to a boyfriend. She was buying a ticket to the show. But the dynasty pushed back.
They definitely did.
By October 2012, it was over. The relationship lasted barely 3 months. She sold the house.
And get this, that same house just resold in 2025 for $12.3 million.
Okay, so honestly, a great real estate investment, terrible romantic investment, but the return on the property was fantastic.
She sold the house, but she kept the scars. And that is the crucial pivot point. Because for over a decade, that summer was just a cringe compilation online. It was a punchline.
Yeah, a massive punchline.
But if you look at her new album, The Life of a Showgirl, she is finally addressing it.
And that is not even the wildest part. Coming up, we decode the secret message in her new single that reveals exactly how Travis Kelce saved her from a Shakespearean tragedy. Plus, the shocking coincidence involving Conor Kennedy that nobody saw coming in 2026.
You are not going to believe the timing on this one.
Okay, let's jump to the present day. It's late 2025, turning into 2026. Taylor releases her 12th studio album, The Life of a Showgirl, and the opening track, The Fate of Ophelia, is getting a massive amount of attention.
Right. And for anyone who skipped English Lit 101, Ophelia is the character in Shakespeare's Hamlet who goes mad and drowns.
The ultimate symbol of tragedy.
Exactly. Female hysteria, tragedy, passivity. The album cover even features Taylor in a bathtub, which is a direct visual reference to the famous Malay painting of Ophelia floating in the water.
But here is the twist. In the song, she isn't the one drowning, or rather, she was, but someone pulled her out. Elle magazine did a great breakdown of the lyrics. There is a specific line, "I heard you calling on the megaphone, you want to see me all alone."
That is such a clear reference to Travis Kelce. Remember, he famously used his New Heights podcast as a literal megaphone to get her attention when she wouldn't meet him before the Eras Tour show.
Exactly. The narrative shift is incredible here. In 2012, with the Kennedys, she was drowning in the melancholy of trying to fit into this tragic family. In 2026, Travis is the tactile, loud, very present force that says, "Nope, we aren't drowning today." The lyric, "You dug me out of my grave," is just visceral.
It's aggressive, and it fits the timeline perfectly. She went from a 6-year relationship with Joe Alwyn that was very private, almost stiflingly so, into this showgirl era. And then the engagement.
August 26, 2025.
We have to talk about the ring.
An 8-carat old mine brilliant cut diamond. You do not hide an 8-carat diamond.
You really don't. And the data backs up the impact of this relationship. We pulled a study from Montclair State University that analyzed the social media sentiment after the engagement announcement. 82% of the posts expressed joy.
That is a wildly high approval rating for the internet. Most politicians would kill for 51%.
And economically, it was huge. A 96% increase in NFL brand references online. The Taylor Swift effect is very real.
Very real.
But it wasn't all sunshine and roses. We have to talk about the Opalite music video because that really divided the fan base.
Oh, the tradwife allegations. This was fascinating to watch unfold. So for listeners who missed this, she releases the video for Opalite, and there is this sequence where she is in a vintage kitchen wearing an apron, baking bread, looking very domestic.
Very 1950s housewife.
Yeah.
And the internet immediately split into two camps.
Of course it did.
You had one side saying She is reclaiming domesticity. She's happy. Let her bake bread. And then you have the other side, specifically on the Femoy subreddit, arguing that she was glamorizing the trad wife aesthetic.
This idea of subservience and retro gender roles, it got heated. People were analyzing the flower on her apron like it was crime scene evidence.
And it tied into the monkey branching accusation.
Okay, we need to pause and define that term because I saw it everywhere during this deep dive. Monkey branching.
It's a pretty cynical dating term.
Yeah.
Basically, it's the idea that you don't let go of one relationship branch until you have a firm grip on the next one, so you never fall.
Got it.
The forums were full of people debating if she monkey branched from Joe Alwyn to Maddie Healy, and then from Maddie Healy straight to Travis Kelce.
It implies a lack of independence, right? That she can't just be alone.
Exactly. And the Opalite video fueled that fire because critics felt she was just morphing into whatever her current partner wanted. With Maddie, she was the edgy rock chick. With Travis, she's baking cinnamon rolls.
But if you look at the Ophelia metaphor we talked about earlier, maybe she didn't move fast. Maybe she just grabbed the hand that was pulling her out of the water. Maybe the baking bread isn't about subservience, it's about grounding.
I think that's the charitable reading, and probably the accurate one. She is no longer seeking a dynasty like she was with the Kennedys. She is creating one.
She absolutely is.
And honestly, the memes about the English teacher and the gym teacher getting married are my favorite part of this whole saga.
It grounds them. It makes them relatable despite the billions of dollars.
But speaking of billions, or at least millions, we need to talk about where this wedding is actually happening, because here is where it gets spooky.
Spooky is the right word.
Taylor isn't the only one planning a wedding for June 2026. A ghost from her past is on the exact same timeline.
This is the part that made me double-check the sources because it feels entirely too scripted to be reality.
It really does.
Later in the episode, we will talk about the shocking twist nobody saw coming. We are going to break down the Battle of Watch Hill versus Brazil, find out why the state of Rhode Island invented a new tax that feels personally targeted at Taylor Swift, and discuss the wildly romantic countdown Travis has planned.
It involves a botanical garden's worth of flowers.
If you are loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you are subscribed. We have got even crazier stories ahead, including a massive deep dive coming up on the Opalite scandal specifically, where we go frame by frame through that video.
You definitely won't want to miss it.
So tell us about the Battle of Watch Hill.
Okay, so the rumors are swirling that the wedding date is Saturday, June 13th, 2026.
Of course it's the 13th. She wouldn't get married on the 12th or the 14th.
Naturally. And the venue is the Ocean House in Watch Hill, Rhode Island. Now, this is crucial geography. Watch Hill is only about 2 hours away from that old Hyannisport home she bought to be near the Kennedys.
It's like she stayed in the same region but moved to her own castle.
It is very close.
Yeah.
And she owns a holiday house nearby, which is reportedly undergoing $1.7 million in renovations right now. New bedroom suites and large guest areas. She is fortifying the compound.
But the romance of it all, there was a report about this detail that I am just obsessed with. Travis has a flower countdown plan.
Oh, this is intense.
So starting 100 days out from the wedding, he sends flowers. Then again at 50 days, then 30, and then every single day for the final month leading up to the altar.
Orchids and hydrangeas specifically. Can you imagine the smell in that house?
It is a massive logistics operation. It's the Super Bowl of floristry. But while she is building this floral wonderland, the state of Rhode Island is coming for her wallet. Have you heard about the Taylor Swift tax?
I have. This is actually a fascinating piece of legislation. It's a surcharge on second homes worth over $1 million.
And since her estate is valued at well over $17 million.
She is looking at an extra $136,000 a year in taxes just for owning the house.
Which, to be fair, is probably what she makes in streaming royalties while we record the sentence. But it's the principle of the thing. She is stimulating the local economy single-handedly, and they are taxing her for the privilege.
But here's the twist that connects us back to 2012. While Taylor is planning this Rhode Island extravaganza for June 2026, guess who else is getting married in June 2026?
Conor Kennedy.
Conor Kennedy, the boy from the Polka Dot Summer. He is engaged to a Brazilian singer named Giulia Be, and they are planning their wedding for the exact same month.
The odds of that are astronomical.
It is happening in Brazil. It is going to be massive, 600 guests. And the guest list is, well, it is very different from Taylor's. Because of his father, RFK Jr., political figures from across the spectrum, including people like Donald Trump and Elon Musk, are reportedly on the invite list.
That is such a stark contrast. So you have Taylor Swift, the Miss Americana, who has tried to distance herself from that chaotic political world, holding court in Rhode Island, and simultaneously her ex-boyfriend from her Kennedy obsession era is hosting political heavyweights in Brazil. And again, we are just looking at the guest list as reported in the sources, not endorsing anyone's politics here.
Exactly. We are just reporting the facts of the events. It is what we call parallel tracks. In 2012, their lives intersected in this messy, immature, tragic way. Now, they both in their 30s, both marrying musicians or music adjacent in Conor's case, and both planning massive global events.
It makes you wonder, is it fate? Is it coincidence? Or is it curse trying to get the last laugh?
I actually think it's closure. Taylor moved from the girl who crashed a Kennedy wedding to the woman hosting her own dynasty event. She stopped trying to be Kennedy and decided to just be Taylor Swift.
That is a really powerful place to land. We've gone all the way from the cringe of 2012, buying mansions for high schoolers, to the joy of 2026 with an 8-carat ring and a flower countdown.
And she survived the curse. She didn't let the heartbreak of that summer or the embarrassment of it define her. She turned it into art, and then she built a life that was bigger than the fantasy she was chasing back then.
Parade magazine unearthed a quote from that 2012 era where Taylor said she didn't want to keep a wedding scrapbook. She said she wanted the real thing. And yet, here she is, with the entire world scrapbooking it for her. Every single detail, every flower, every guest.
It raises the final question. Is the showgirl finally happy, or is the performance just bigger than ever?
That is definitely something to think about. You've been listening to StarScope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.